The topic of discussion undoubtedly will involve Kevin Stefanski. The Browns made him the 10th full-time head coach since their return in 1999. He is the 8th head coach the Browns have hired without any NFL head coaching experience. Supposedly, Jimmy Haslam didn't want to rebuild or restructure the organization. If ever an organization was dying to be restructured, it's our Cleveland Browns. They have not had a coach in those 10 that they've hired that has had a winning record when he's been let go as the head coach of the Browns. That's 20 years without a head coach that has a winning record. The best of the bunch was Butch Davis, who also, by design, had that lone playoff season back in 2002. Butch Davis's record, 24-34. That is the best head coaching record for Browns since they returned in 1999. The next guy that gets the chance is Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski was a guy that the analytics guys liked last year, so again, it appears the Browns are trying to undo a mistake that the regime did previously when they hired Freddie Kitchens against the recommendations of the analytics guys and Paul DePodesta. Stefanski may end up being a really good head coach. The one thing that he lacks, NFL head coaching experience. He becomes the 8th head coach that will get his first crack at coaching in the NFL with our Cleveland Browns. Paul DePodesta kind of explained why the Browns leaned that way.
Last year when we went to the process, we did reference work on probably north of 50 candidates. And he was one of them, and he really emerged really through that work and said, boy, this is someone we need to meet. And then he did a terrific job in the interview. As has been reported, he ended up being one of our finalists, and so we felt like it was prudent to bring him back, this year. He was the only one we brought back to this year's process, but no, it really was the work of all of our sort of football people and the background and reference work they had done that brought him into the pool last year.
Was there any more impressive experience with being the offensive coordinator for a full year? Did you learn anything new about him this year?
Yeah, well, I think he did learn something about himself this year. I mean, even being the coordinator, working with Gary, they implemented a whole new system there this year. So I think there were definitely some learnings there. But I think the thing that was reassuring for us is when we went and met him this year, he's still the same person. He's still the leader we remembered. He's very comfortable in his own skin, makes everybody around him comfortable sort of right away. And I think that made us all feel good about it.
What does analytics say about Kevin Stefanski as a coach?
Yeah, I think people have a really warped view of maybe what analytics is. I think I maybe have a very different conception than what everybody else has. When I think of analytics, I just think of having sort of frameworks to make decisions under uncertainty. I mean, look, everything we do in these jobs is really built around uncertainty. I mean, what players we're going to take in the draft, what we're going to call on 3rd and 8. I mean, it's all about uncertainty, right? So what frameworks can you create that at least maybe stack the odds in your favor, give you a better chance of being successful? And whether that's drafting a player or hiring a coach or calling a play, it's not necessarily about numbers and spreadsheets. For us, it was this, in terms of what the analytics said about Kevin Stefanski. My answer would be, this is what our references said. This is the personality testing that we did. This is what the interview process was. Those aren't numbers, or again spreadsheets or anything like that. But it is the framework we use to try to come up with the best candidate. And ultimately, Kevin checked all the boxes.
Well, how much pressure was on this group to get this right? I mean, obviously Baker going to multiple coaches, the math.
Yeah.
Doing this every 2 years.
Yeah, no, look, I'm a big believer that there's a real cost to change. Forget about financial costs. There's a cost to turnover. They talked about it in there, the different coordinators that people have had to go through, different people in the building, different philosophies, different schemes. There's a real cost to that. We have to get this right. When we went, when we embarked on this, what was it, close to 2 weeks ago now, we talked about what we're looking for is we're looking for someone for the next 10 plus years. I mean, that's our goal here. That's what we want. And ultimately, if we want to be a championship level organization, which is what we're shooting for, that's what they have. They have coaches that have been in place for a long time. Now, we can't jump from, year 1 to year 10, in 2 years. It's going to take a while, but that's really what we're looking for, was someone that we thought could give us some, sustainable success and some real continuity for a long period of time. And someone who could really be, for lack of a better term, sort of the CEO of the football organization, especially in terms of his leadership and his ability to bring everybody together, both on the field and off the field. I think that's what we have in Kevin.
Well, odds are in the Browns' favor. Eventually, they got to get this right. 20 years, 10 head coaches. They average about 2 a year. A quick question for you. Who do you think the last winning head coach for the Cleveland Browns is? A lot of people are going to say Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest NFL head coach in history, had a 36-44 record in his time with the Browns. In case you're wondering, Marty Schottenheimer was the last winning coach back in the 80s, 84 to 88. He was 44-27. That's how long it's been since the Browns have had a really good NFL head coach. They're trying to marry Kevin Stefanski with a GM. They're hoping that it might be Andrew Berry. That's one guy that is into interview with the Browns today, Friday, as well as Ozzie Manfort. Now, he is with the Patriots, but has been the director of college scouting. Not exactly sure how that translates to being a good GM. We'll find out. But again, the Browns are trying to align the entire organization. Let's hope for their sake it works.